The Netflix series Bridgerton has won the hearts of many with its charms and fairy tale-like atmosphere. Though everything looks like peaches and roses on screen, the reality behind the scenes is quite different than what one would expect. If you're curious to know what it was like for the actors off set, you've come to the right place. Welcome back to Craze, guys! Today, we have prepared a video on the list of rules of the cast members of Bridgerton had to follow on set. Stick with us till the end of the video to get to know every little detail. Number 1. Research. Research is something every actor would have to do in order for them to portray their character in the best way possible. Acting is not as easy as just spurting your words out of a script. Unless the actor knows who she is depicting and has a little bit of background study on the character, they cannot just expect their acting to come out well. The Bridgerton series is fully based on a whole collection of novels written by the amazing Julia Quinn, 11 novels to be exact. That means it's 11 novels worth of research for the characters to do. Of course, the case would be different for those who are familiar with the novels and have read them before. The actors didn't have to go through all 9 of them, but had to be thorough with at least one of the novels to get a clear idea of what they were expected to show on screen. Phoebe Dynevor, who plays the lead role of Daphne, had absolutely no clue about the Bridgerton books at all before she bagged the role. But after she read a couple of the novels, it was clear to hear why the novels were such a hit. The romance in the Bridgerton novel series was just beautiful, and she could feel the chemistry between the two characters. This really helped the actors get to know their on-screen characters in depth. Number 2. Decline other offers. Every show requires a certain amount of commitment from the actor sides. The cast and crew of the Bridgerton series were made to sign contracts agreeing that they would decline all other offers for as long as they are on the sets of the show. Unless, of course, they get written off of the show or the character faces an on-screen death. Number 3. Exhausting debutante training. It is common for actors to go the extra mile while preparing for their roles. To perform as well as they can, a lot of them take lessons related to the character they are about to enact. Imagine how much preparation it must have taken to get the audience to feel the Regency-era atmosphere. A historical drama isn't as easy as your average Netflix dramas. They literally have to make the whole cast shift back in time. The lead star Phoebe Dynevor had longed to get a role in a Regency-era drama. When she finally bagged the role of Daphne Bridgerton and read through the list of preparations that had to be made, she got quite a bit of a surprise. She did know that her role would be an exciting one, but didn't expect training to be the First Lady. She didn't have a clue about what being the First Lady was like. How did she portray Daphne so perfectly then? She trained. Phoebe had to take class after class where she was trained with all the etiquette a first lady would require. They trained her to walk, talk, eat, and even sit the way a first lady would. These etiquettes alone would take hours of training, but that's not all. On top of all of that, Phoebe's schedule included piano lessons, horse riding lessons every week. That's when she came to terms with the fact that this was way more work than she expected. Number 4. Developing chemistry. Being physical on screen in a way that it appears completely realistic isn't as easy as it seems. We already know how much of a priority intimate scenes are given in the Bridgerton series. All that intimacy didn't come on the spot when the actors were told to do so. They had, in fact, rehearsed the scenes for days and even weeks together to get it to look as natural as possible. It took exactly 6 weeks of practice. Phoebe Dynevor explained that when it was time to film the intimate scenes, the actors already knew what to do, when, and didn't feel even a bit of discomfort. It's fair to say the actors did a pretty good job at it. Number 5. Holding in their laughter. This one goes for all the actors out there, not just the Bridgerton cast alone. It takes a great deal of effort to stay in character on set. At times, the stuff you have to act out might seem like a complete joke to the actor because, after all, it's just on a set. In one particular scene, regé-jean Page found it particularly difficult to stay serious while filming and broke into fits of laughter a couple of times. The whole scene was staged hilariously. The chariots that we see on screen were really just empty chariots that were sent on the streets. The actors really pulled it off through sound staging. So you all can probably imagine why it was so difficult to stay serious with a straight face while filming those scenes. Number 6. Uncomfortable outfits. This one's a given for everyone in the sets of a historical series. Every single character on set is decked with layers and layers of makeup and clothing to match with the Regency era. Their costumes were taken pretty seriously, and the total number of costumes made for season 1 alone amounted to more than 7,500 outfits. We see clear clips of the female roles being tied with one corset over the other. Though they weren't made to wear those suffocating corsets during the shoot, their outfits were heavy and uncomfortable enough to deal with. The Featherington family felt the worst horrors of those costumes. They were deliberately overdressed to make it clear that they were envious of the Bridgertons and were trying their best to contradict the family. The debutante clothing, wigs, corsets, hats, feathery outfits all made it a terrible struggle for the cast. After about 2 hours of decking Nicola Coughlan with her Penelope-style makeup, they topped it all off with a wig. She explains how they place a special kind of mask on top of her head before placing the actual wig. She recalls how her actual head and scalp would be drenched wet throughout filming. She even explains how she had to wear highly uncomfortable heels, which caused her a few falls every now and then. The ladies weren't the only ones who had it tough with their costumes. The men found it hard to get into their heavy coats and suits as well. Nevertheless, it's fair to say that their costumes came out fantastic, and they all looked as classy as ever. Number 7. Keep up with the accent. The directors made a good choice at picking actors who were mostly Brits and had their pure British accents to match with their Regency era theme. But this doesn't mean they didn't have to brush up their accents. Since the show was mostly shot in London, England, most of the cast and crew members already spoke as Brits do. Still, they had to shift their way of talking all the way back to how the language was spoken in the Regency era, which was quite a task, especially for the ones who weren't from Britain. Regé-Jean Page and Phoebe Dynevor may be well-spoken Brits, but still had to put in their fair share of effort to be consistent with their historical drama accents. One little slip of the Duke's tongue and the Duchess could cause the entire reshooting of the scene. Maintaining that, along with the acting, could have put a ton of pressure on the cast, but they certainly did up their game and sounded as natural as ever. Number 8. Living up to the fans' expectations. An actor's entire career depends upon this one. Of course, talent and zeal can get them to reach certain heights, but in the end, it really depends on whether the actors have caught the public's attention well enough to gain their support. Most of the members of the cast didn't even have a clue about how popular Julia Quinn's novels actually were. Slowly, as they realized how important a role they were playing, it occurred to them that there were several fans of the novel just waiting to find out if the Netflix series did justice to the novels. That in itself is a whole lot of pressure to handle. Initially, a lot of the fans were against Nicola Coughlan playing the role of Penelope. Instead, they wished it would be Emma Stone playing that role. As sorry as she was for the fans who wished so, she put in all the effort she could to get them to love her on-screen character. She read the Bridgerton books and even took out time to check out the various Bridgerton fan forums to find out what the fans felt about the show and her character. Nicola's effort has really paid off, and all Bridgerton fans cannot help but fall in love with her adorable character. Number 9. Being monitored during intimate scenes. Intimate scenes are probably one of the most difficult and awkward parts of filming. To make it even more awkward, this series introduced a person to monitor the actors while filming those steamy scenes. The person is referred to as an intimacy coordinator, and Lizzie Talbot is the one who did the job. But instead of making it unpleasant, Lizzie made the actors as comfortable as they could be. So, those were some of the rules the cast of the Bridgerton series has to follow. We hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.